all summer long. On the air in Lincoln at 93.7 The Ticket.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Hey everyone, this is Austin Orman from Old School with Foreman and Orman, live from 1040 O Street in the heart of downtown Lincoln, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. My favorite thing about downtown Lincoln has to be the year-round energy. Downtown Lincoln never stops. It's easy to get to, has everything you could need or want in dining, entertainment, and retail, and of course it has Lincoln's best sports talk, proudly located in downtown Lincoln on the corner of 11th and O.
This message is brought to you by the Downtown Lincoln Association and 93.7 The Ticket.
Is your air conditioner ready for the hot weather ahead? Get it checked now before you really need it. Call Bryant now to schedule your spring air conditioning service check. No matter what brand equipment you have, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean, inspect, and test to make sure it's ready to cool efficiently when hot weather hits. Stay cool and comfortable with air conditioning services from Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111 to schedule your AC check. Bryant, whatever it takes.
At DWE Generations, having a plan matters, especially when it comes to protecting what's most important. They work with individuals, families, and business owners to help make smart financial decisions that support life today and set the foundation for generations. David Darlington, Russell Walton, and Cody Eiler bring decades of experience, and their dedicated team provides follow-through, answering questions, explaining next steps, and staying connected as life evolves. DWE Generations, a generational wealth planning firm. DWE Generations is a marketing name for individuals doing business as representatives of Northwestern Mutual. Visit generations.nm.com or call 402-483-7871 and ask for David, Russell, or Cody.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement. There are so many realtors in Lincoln and Omaha, but don't get overwhelmed by all the no-names, plus all the different companies. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate is your go-to option, whether buying or selling residential, luxury, leasing, investment properties, or commercial property, small or large. Ben's team offers decades of experience, unbeatable customer service, and promises to fully protect your interests throughout the entire transaction. Call 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate.
Nutrition Authority presents Fusion 30, an ultra premium protein ideal for anyone wanting to look, feel, and perform their best. Fusion 30 can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today for a free sample, visit with a certified nutritionist, and get better than internet pricing. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Gentlemen, are you ready for something beyond the ordinary haircut? At Scissors and Scotch Lincoln, they blend your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. Sink into a comfy chair, unwind with a complimentary drink, and let their master barbers handle the rest. It's not just grooming, it's an experience. Whether you're prepping for a big meeting, needing to get cleaned up before family comes to town, or just need a little time to yourself, Scissors and Scotch Lincoln delivers sharp style every time. Book now at Scissors and Scotch in Lincoln, just south of 30th and Yankee Hill Road.
Welcome into Serve and Volley, featuring Nebraska assistant coach and recruiting coordinator Jaylen Reyes. Serve and Volley gives you a look behind the curtain of Nebraska volleyball and a coach's perspective on the world of college athletics. Serve and Volley is sponsored by Love Volleyball Nebraska. Become a Love Volleyball Nebraska member for your chance to engage with Love and its players. Now it's time for First Serve on Serve and Volley with your host, Jaylen Reyes.
Welcome in to Serve and Volley. Harrison Arms, the ones and twos, as always, joined with Jaylen Reyes, Nebraska Volleyball Associate Head Coach. If you guys want to join in, 402-464-5785, 5685, Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo Channel 961. Great ways to put a face to the voice. And on cue, appreciate it. As always, announcing news for me. Perfect timelines here for these shows. But Jaylen Reyes, before we get into it, how's it going, man, on pretty beautiful Tuesday in the capital city?
Cannot complain. Went in the office earlier this morning, and then I actually went up to Omaha, and I actually played golf today up at Champions Run Country Club up in the Omaha area. It was awesome. Weather was awesome. Jaylen actually had a really good streak of awesomeness on the course, and then holes 11, 12, and 13 bit me pretty good. But other than that, great day. Great day here in Nebraska, here in Lincoln, and in up in Omaha.
Is that your sport? Obviously, we know you're a volleyball guy, but is that the next sport that if you
golf for sure, beach volleyball? I did a good amount of that a couple weeks ago when I was at home, and I would say those are kind of the three main sports: volley, indoor, beach, and golf for sure.
Absolutely. And that being said, we won't talk about golf, but we will talk about some Husker volleyball. As I kind of hinted at before, Nebraska volleyball with some more news. We kind of talked about Texas and Nebraska. Would there be another big opportunity to put something together? And indeed, there was. Nebraska volleyball program will play in the first ever Players Era. And if that's familiar, they did something very similar with college basketball, men and women's Players Era. And I think it was through the course of an entire week. But the Players Era volleyball showcase, and it will be played in Las Vegas this August, and it's not an exhibition. That will officially kick off the season. UNLV will be down there as well. But just a really cool opportunity getting to play Texas. And it's actually been a couple of years since we played Texas in the national championship game. And, you know, what a great way to kind of kick off the season, a game in Las Vegas versus a matchup that there's a lot of headlines heading into it versus Texas.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's awesome. Again, I know it seems like I keep saying the same thing to start these shows the last 3 or 4 weeks since Wrigley and obviously AT&T Stadium. But no, it's a really, really awesome opportunity. Before we get into the nuts and bolts, just in my opinion, the two programs right now that kind of, I know, we didn't win. Both of us haven't won the national championship the last couple of years, but just programs that I think keep stretching what's possible for women's sports, but especially women's volleyball. Texas and Nebraska, kind of a old school rivalry going back to the old conference days. And I know we don't play each other as much anymore just because obviously we're not in the same leagues anymore. And now we're both kind of in separate leagues completely. But, it seems like, hey, we compete for headlines. We compete on the court. We compete for recruits. So why not kind of bring this back? And I don't think we need I don't think it's really a restart, but kind of restarting honestly a deal that we're going to end up doing for the next few years. And I don't think the location of the game might change, but for the most part, I think this is going to be something we're going to do with Texas for sure, is just to get to play them. And, what it's going to look like each year. We don't know where the city, what time of the season. But yeah, this is something that I know the two head coaches, Jared Elliott and obviously DBK, they, connected over the offseason, and they felt like, man, this is a big thing for the sport. This is the Players Era thing. So people that aren't familiar, this was kind of a big NIL thing for the women's and men's basketball teams this fall.
Mm-hmm.
It will be the same thing for us in Texas as we kind of go. And that's kind of, if I'm being honest, I don't remember exactly I know it's through MGM out in Las Vegas. And I think there's some other companies tied into that, but
so it's the Players Era, Bet MGM, and then it's the Ever Wonder Studio.
Yep.
This is a subsidiary that's helping put it together as well.
Yep. So they kind of wanted to do this, and us in Texas are kind of committed to playing each other for the next fewish years. And again, what that looks like, I don't know yet. When and where, we don't know yet. But I just think it's really important for the sport that we get together with those guys, just because the fan bases feel a specific way about each other.
Yeah, that's one way to certainly put it. And, it's just great, again, for the headlines heading into it. And it doesn't always mean that these are guaranteed to be the best two teams in college volleyball, but you got two really big brands that certainly have a big face when it comes to collegiate volleyball. So, and I should say UNLV first is that first game. I kind of misspoke there saying we'd open it with Texas.
TCU is going to play Texas on that Saturday. And then this is the weekend before Labor Day weekend, and then we'll play Texas on Sunday at the T-Mobile Arena, which is another awesome venue. It's another, I know the WNBA teams play there. I know the Vegas Knights play there. And I'm pretty sure when the NBA finally expands back to Seattle and Vegas, they'll have an NBA team in there. So, I mean, in the first 2 weeks of the season, check off NFL Stadium, NBA, WNBA, NHL Arena, and, obviously checking off Wrigley Field, MLB Stadium. So just another really cool event. Again, honored to be part of it. It's a really awesome opportunity, just like the Dallas thing is with how college sports are nowadays, with being able to kind of help finance this and help finance our teams. And it's a really cool opportunity for all the players involved. And then, getting to play the local team first to kind of officially start off the season. Again, for those that don't know, the matches that are in Dallas, they're exhibitions, so they technically won't count toward our record. But yeah, starting off that Saturday against UNLV up at T-Mobile Arena, and and then playing Texas. So I would say this, just because I think it's important for people to know. And I think I'm allowed to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. This was actually only supposed to involve us in Texas, but I think it's MGM has a deal with ESPN, and because we're in the Big Ten, we're kind of owned by the Big Ten Network and Fox.
Right.
Fox wasn't going to allow us to televise it, but there's a loophole in the contract where if it's a multi-team event, then anyone can air it, if that makes sense. So that's where TCU. That's why this was like the deal. This was like one of the games that was like first decided for us, but it's the last one that got
confirmed
announced,
to the public,
because everything had to be signed. But a lot of it was like TV stuff, because I think MGM and ESPN had something, obviously with our affiliations with the Big Ten. Fox kind of has rights to like the single events. So the fact that we kind of got UNLV and TCU involved becomes a multi-team, multi-day event, which means I don't know the language in the contract, but I'm not going to say anyone's allowed to televise it, but that was kind of one of the big holdups, if that makes sense. So we're happy. We're thankful for TCU and UNLV. Obviously,
I'm sure they're happy to be there too. It's a great opportunity.
So no, I think it's just going to be an awesome weekend, and it's another weekend that, hey, to get us out of our like kind of normal footprint, in terms of getting on the West Coast. We had a great showing. Huskers had a great showing fan-wise out in California last year when we played at UCLA and USC. 2 years ago, we played at Oregon and Washington, and now we're kind of going obviously to Nevada and Las Vegas, and hopefully we can have a great Husker, and wherever you're from, whether you're a Husker fan from California, from Las Vegas, from the state of Utah, kind of help us out and, buy some tickets and get to kind of see us play and support us, and obviously support the other two teams that are there as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a great opportunity, and I feel like Vegas has a good coalition of Husker fans that have either migrated or just grew up.
Yeah, or I know Phoenix and Scottsdale aren't far away, and I know there's a lot of Nebraska fans on there.
I mean, is it warmer?
I think it's is it I-15 that goes down there? I know 15 goes through Vegas, but I think 15 takes you toward California. I can't remember the highway that you can drive.
Oh, it's just all the way across.
Yeah, the interstate that you can just get on the interstate and just go straight up. I think it's like a pretty good sized drive, but yeah, we're gonna need it, and obviously that Sunday is gonna be a massive match. I mean, you think about the potential postseason implications for what that match could hold. Obviously, both teams are kind of hoping that we're in the position to where that second match of the season for both of us really matters. But it's again, it's just another great way to kind of start the season off, just like we did last year here in Lincoln at the AVCA First Serve. We're getting to kind of take the show on the road and be the traveling circus for about 2 weeks while we go to Dallas, Vegas, South Dakota, and obviously up in Chicago and Wrigleyville to end it. So it's going to be a fun 2 weeks and a really busy 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, and maybe we'll kind of get into what the travel and all that looks like, but it's also just great to see this matchup, and if it does become a thing with Texas, because again, when you have two brands like this. And, I say this.
I think that's important. That word is important. Brands.
Yes.
The brands are important.
Yeah. And, I say with a little bit of pain in my voice because I have to give credit to Texas, but, it's kind of a bummer that you don't get to automatically see these teams. You're in, like, I know after 2023, I can talk to a lot of my friends and family that would love to go play Texas again for obviously you want the rematch, but also it's just great television. Those two colors clashing against each other is kind of iconic. And then for, again, volleyball, a sport that's seems just to be rapidly growing, and Husker volleyball is a big part of it, along with Penn State for what they've done in the past and all these schools. But to have these two go head to head and as this kind of kick off the season, I think it's just a great way to build up narratives already. And like for the media, just get people super excited about volleyball season. And when you have Texas, Nebraska, there's not a lot of other matchups you can pick out there that are going to get that same kind of excitement.
For sure.
So with that being said, we want to talk about the scheduling a little bit. So with you guys, again, you kind of went through it. You're going to be Dallas, Chicago, Vegas. When you guys are going through this stuff, what's kind of the important things to keep everybody just locked in, despite, being the traveling circus, but also on a mission to get work done?
I think some context, because I know some people out there wondering, like, why interesting timing, right? We have construction going on in the Devaney Center. So I've heard, is the reason you're going on the road to start the season because your gym's not going to be ready? As of right now, that is not the correct answer. Our arena, the Devaney Center, for those that don't know, they're doing construction on it. They're basically expanding it, and they're putting more seats, and they're doing a reseating. The other thing that that I've heard people talk about is, it's interesting that obviously with this change and this shift in college sports in terms of, being NIL money and stuff like that, is that important? I'd be lying to you if I didn't say no, like that. It really is important.
Yeah.
It's a big way to recruit athletes. It's here at Nebraska, we can take advantage of our following because these event companies, when you have an event, you want to put on an event that people are going to remember, that are going to give people experience. And obviously you want people to be there and have it look great on television. For college volleyball, we're one of the schools, or, in my opinion, the school that attracts that following kind of no matter where we go. And it's been proven. This isn't just Jaylen saying this because he's wearing a Nebraska hat.
Right.
So these event companies basically now are like offering us, cash guarantees that now we can kind of funnel through, the NIL channels, and hopefully we can make it to our players. That's going to help with recruiting. That's just nowadays, like, that's an important piece. That's not everything in recruiting, but that's a huge important piece. So some of these events like the Dallas exhibition, and then obviously the thing in Las Vegas, is really important. We kind of touched scheduling wise. We touched on, the importance of playing Texas,
right?
Just making sure, we haven't played them in forever. We haven't played Texas. We played them in the tournament in 2023, like you mentioned.
Okay.
In the national championship game. We played them in the Elite Eight in the bubble in 2020. But I believe the last time Nebraska and Texas played a regular season game was back in 2016. That's a long time. You think about it, it's 10 years since we've played them in the regular season. I could be totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was the last time Texas and Nebraska played a regular season match against each other. So that was a big priority for us. The South Dakota thing just kind of hatched because we wanted to give Bergen Riley a game in our home state.
And it makes sense. We have connections there, and it's gone pretty smooth for us.
There's other kids, that are coming in the pipeline that we've had in the past and that we're going to continue to recruit from that state. So that's important to us. If I'm being honest, the Wrigley Field thing was more of it's the Big Ten SEC thing. So that one was kind of, I'm not going to say dictated is probably too strong of a word, but that was something we kind of needed to play in.
Okay.
Because if you're going to look around, Kentucky and Penn State are also playing there too. SEC, Big Ten. And then that weekend, I think it will be announced pretty soon here. Maybe it already is. The SEC and Big Ten are going to be playing kind of throughout that week, depending single matches. I believe all of them are going to be on campus somewhere.
Okay.
I think we're the only ones doing a neutral site for that. So there's just a lot that goes into scheduling. And then, we still wanted to get some home matches in, which I know will be announced here in the next couple of weeks, I believe. But we'll have 5 matches at the Devaney Center. And then we've talked about, playing Creighton, and we're going to play Creighton up in PBA. So, we'll start the matches here in we'll start our season playing other teams in Dallas at the exhibition versus Florida. And then, the winner and loser between SMU and Penn State. And then we'll go to Las Vegas. We'll play UNLV on Saturday, play Texas on Sunday. We turn around and play South Dakota State on the road on a Wednesday, I believe. And then we'll head into Chicago, play DePaul. And DePaul was they've been a good RPI team. We think they're going to be a good RPI team. The Big East has done a nice job with RPI, which is, for those that don't know, that's still a big thing in volleyball. In volleyball, we don't necessarily use too much of the the other metrics you hear in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a very much RPI driven system in terms of tournament selection. So because we're going to Chicago anyway, and their basketball arena is, we kind of reached out to the coach, and that's kind of why we decided to play them, to just justify the trip up there. And then obviously we talked about the Big Ten SEC thing with Mizzou at Wrigley Field. And then the following 2 weeks we'll just be playing here at home. We'll play kind of the following Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then the following week we'll play Creighton on a Wednesday up at PBA, and then we'll play home matches on Friday and Sunday. So we kind of finished the non-conference portion of the schedule with 6 matches in 2 weeks here in Lincoln, and obviously that first match after Chicago will be kind of the first match in the the new Bob Devaney Sports Center at John Cook Arena. So that'd be kind of a fun way to kind of shoot us into the Big Ten play, which, that schedule, or not schedules come out, but the opponents list came out. So it's a lot of change scheduling wise, but just a lot of change in college sports. And we just felt like, hey, we need to try this. We need to try this with this team is important too, because we feel like, okay, hey, we're one of the older teams now. We believe that, the fact that we have a lot of older players now, our players are kind of able to, I guess, handle this like rigorous travel for the first couple of weeks of the season for sure.
Absolutely. And like you said, there's going to be Spikes Under the Lights. They got the Players Era Showcase, and then it's the Sanford. I don't know if they have an official title for the games at the Sanford Pentagon down there. And then, of course, the Big Ten SEC Challenge that will have Nebraska playing Missouri. But to your point, I think it's a week-long process, and this will be the only remote one up there in Wrigley Field. But you're going to see a lot of Big Ten versus SEC matchups for the not the Spikes, the Players Era Showcase. We get UNLV in Texas. I can't remember. Is there NIL potential winnings for the players?
No, it's for us. It's just and I don't know the finances off the top of my head, but it's just hey, cutting us a check, and
okay. So
it's one of those things. The Dallas one is the one where
I know you can get 400,000 is the most I think you can come out with.
I think it's 350.
350. Okay.
Everyone gets 200.
Yep.
The winners get the winners. If you win the thing, you get 150. If you finish second, you get 50.
Okay.
So it's like everyone's guaranteed 200. Second place gets 250, and then the winner gets 350, which is what adds up to $1 million. So
okay.
I think last week I misspoke, and the winner doesn't get the extra 200 grand. It's 150 and 50.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, I was wondering, dude. It's like it's a nice little run there for the players,
right?
And to make a nice little bit of money there. But obviously, Spikes Under the Lights, that's just exhibition, but a great opportunity. Make a little bit of cash that doesn't hurt anybody. And then the Players Era Showcase will be the official start of the season with UNLV and Texas. That's August 29th and 30th. With that being said, we'll go ahead and throw it to break. Don't go anywhere. We still got 2 more segments. This is Serve in Volley. We got Jaylen Reyes to my left. As always, Harrison runs on the 1s and 2s. We'll talk to you guys in a little bit.
Nutrition Authority presents Fusion 30, an ultra premium protein ideal for anyone wanting to look, feel, and perform their best. Fusion 30 can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today for a free sample, visit with a certified nutritionist, and get better than internet pricing. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Gentlemen, are you ready for something beyond the ordinary haircut? At Scissors and Scotch Lincoln, they blend your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. Sink into a comfy chair, unwind with a complimentary drink, and let their master barbers handle the rest. It's not just grooming, it's an experience. Whether you're prepping for a big meeting, needing to get cleaned up before family comes to town, or just need a little time to yourself, Scissors and Scotch Lincoln delivers sharp style every time. Book now at Scissors and Scotch in Lincoln, just south of 30th and Yankee Hill Road.
93.7 The Ticket is Lincoln's home for Kansas City Royals baseball in 2026. Catch all the action as Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, And a pitching rotation led by Cole Reagans try to lead the Royals back to the postseason. That's Kansas City Royals baseball all summer long. On the air in Lincoln at 93.7 The Ticket.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street, family owned and operated, always the best value.
Hey everyone, this is Austin Orman from Old School with Foreman and Orman, live from 1040 O Street in the heart of downtown Lincoln, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. My favorite thing about downtown Lincoln has to be the year-round energy. Downtown Lincoln never stops. It's easy to get to, has everything you could need or want in dining, entertainment, and retail, and of course it has Lincoln's best sports talk, proudly located in downtown Lincoln on the corner of 11th and O.
This message is brought to you by the Downtown Lincoln Association and 93.7 The Ticket.
Is your air conditioner ready for the hot weather ahead? Get it checked now before you really need it. Call Bryant now to schedule your spring air conditioning service check. No matter what brand equipment you have, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean, inspect, and test to make sure it's ready to cool efficiently when hot weather hits. Stay cool and comfortable with air conditioning services from Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111 to schedule your AC check. Bryant, whatever it takes.
At DWE Generations, having a plan matters, especially when it comes to protecting what's most important. They work with individuals, families, and business owners to help make smart financial decisions that support life today and set the foundation for generations. David Darlington, Russell Walton, and Cody Eiler bring decades of experience, and their dedicated team provides follow-through, answering questions, explaining next steps, and staying connected as life evolves. DWE Generations, a generational wealth planning firm. DWE Generations is a marketing name for individuals doing business as representatives of Northwestern Mutual. Visit generations.nm.com or call 402-483-7871 and ask for David, Russell, or Cody.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement. There are so many realtors in Lincoln and Omaha, but don't get overwhelmed by all the no-names, plus all the different companies. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate is your go-to option, whether buying or selling residential, luxury, leasing, investment properties, or commercial property, small or large. Ben's team offers decades of experience, unbeatable customer service, and promises to fully protect your interests throughout the entire transaction. Call 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate.
Nutrition Authority presents Fusion 30, an ultra premium protein ideal for anyone wanting to look, feel, and perform their best. Fusion 30 can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today for a free sample, visit with a certified nutritionist, and get better than internet pricing. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Gentlemen, are you ready for something beyond the ordinary haircut? At Scissors and Scotch Lincoln, they blend your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. Sink into a comfy chair, unwind with a complimentary drink, and let their master barbers handle the rest. It's not just grooming, it's an experience. Whether you're prepping for a big meeting, needing to get cleaned up before family comes to town, or just need a little time to yourself, Scissors and Scotch Lincoln delivers sharp style every time. Book now at Scissors and Scotch in Lincoln, just south of 30th and Yankee Hill Road.
Welcome into Serve Volley with your host, Nebraska Assistant Coach and Recruiting Coordinator Jaylen Reyes.
Welcome back in. Second segment, Serve and Volley. Harrison Arns, Nebraska Associate Head Coach Jaylen Reyes. As always, you mentioned that the Big Ten schedule, not the exact times and dates, but the teams are out for who Nebraska is going to have. And the way it works out, the Huskers, well, we'll actually start here. With the addition of the Big Ten Conference Tournament. And I don't know if we've really talked about this a ton quite yet, but it does switch up your regular season. You'll have 17 regular seasons as opposed to the 20.
Yep.
When it comes to the Big Ten conference tournament, we don't have to spend a ton of time on it, but does that really change how you guys operate as you get towards the later end of the season?
Gosh, I'd like to think so. I guess we've never done it before, and we haven't really had these talks yet. I think the one thing that is different is the fact that you only play everyone once. So I remember when I first got to Nebraska, before the 4 Pac-12 schools or West Coast schools joined, man, we played, I think there was like 6 or 7 opponents we played twice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like the last 2 years, we played 3 teams twice. Now we're going to play everyone just one time, which is different. And now it kind of matters on who you get at home and on the road. And I don't know if we're going to talk about that here in a little bit.
Yeah, that's on my next sheet.
But
card here.
So I think that's important. And then, I think it just depends on, right? Like the goal is to get the double bye, right?
Mm-hmm.
The double bye. I think the top 4 seeds get the double bye at the end. So in terms of like matches played, not really, purely because it's not like, oh, we're still playing 20 and they're hammering it in 9 weeks versus playing 20 and 10. We're playing 3 less matches in, I think, like 5 less days, like 4 or 5 days less of time. So it's not like, okay, we're still playing the same amount of conference matches, moving up the season, like ending the season a little earlier, and then adding a tournament, which you could potentially play 3 or 4 games. It's still pretty relatively the same in terms of like the amount of matches you could play in a week's time, if that makes sense. So not really. It's just going to be weird being done before Thanksgiving, because typically we're playing on Black Friday and playing on Saturday. So I would say that yes to that, but they're shortening it. But really, they're also getting rid of a match, a few matches in the regular season portion, because again, we're only playing everybody just one time and only playing 17 matches, not 20.
I can say this much, like selfishly as a fan, I can tell you I'm all for it. Husker volleyball, as good as they've been in the Big Ten, and you could say it doesn't help them, but I do think in terms of, again, if we're talking branding, the SEC tournament, that's a blast to watch. I think this is good for the Big Ten as far as fan engagement goes. Put those teams together.
I think so too. I think it's also like, you'd like to think by the end, I mean, if you make it to, let's just say, because I believe the setup of the tournament, I believe the finals on Wednesday. There's going to be a break on Tuesday. So whoever makes the finals doesn't have to play. No one plays on Tuesday. Monday will be the semis, and then obviously the quarters will be on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So like Monday, you're going to get a lot of, no matter who makes it, hopefully we're lucky to be one of the teams that gets to play on Sunday, but you're going to get good on good.
Yeah.
Like you're going to get good on good Sunday, Monday, and I'd like to think Wednesday too. And I think even before that, but like at the end of the year, you're going to kind of guarantee, like we talked about last year where, or we talked about last week, the Big Ten, they try to guess who the best teams are going to be and then try to put them together on Black Friday and Saturday. But sometimes it's worked out, like us playing Penn State the last few years, or Wisconsin the years before that. But sometimes it hasn't worked out with some schools, So now it's kind of, hey, we all get to play for the right to be at the end and play at the end of the Big Ten tournament. So I don't know. I just think it's going to be another cool event that, again, we get to play in. Hopefully, we get to play later in that tournament, and really excited for the opportunity.
Yeah, it's fun too to see teams, because I know we're talking softball off air a little bit too, but you watch some teams that just get on a heater at the right time, and some teams that can surprise you in there, and you can make last second adjustments, and all of a sudden that team who maybe you weren't thinking about very much, all of a sudden makes a serious run. You might be looking at them in some postseason play. Let's talk about the teams that you guys will actually play on the home, and then of course on the road. So the Huskers, you got 9 home matches, will be against Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, Ohio State, Purdue, Rutgers, UCLA, USC, and Wisconsin. And then the 8 away matches are going to be Indiana, Maryland, Michigan, Michigan State, Northwestern, Oregon, Penn State, and Washington. And then it's on rotations on 2-year cycles, so that will flip for 2027. Anything that really stick out to you, whether it's on the home or on the road, when you go look at that schedule, like as associate head coach or just assistant coach, any coach on Nebraska, what are you looking for when you're looking at those matches? Like who we got at home and on the road?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you looked at, again, sports aren't played on paper. If you looked at, okay, if you had a coach's poll or a media poll, okay, where are people going to finish in the conference this year? let's rank people and see what teams, where's the top, the middle,
Mhm.
bottom going to be. You'd like to think with the LA schools, and remind me because I don't remember off the top of my head per se, with Wisconsin, Minnesota, those are a lot of the schools. Who else do we have at home?
At home, so it's going to be Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota that you had, Ohio State, Purdue, Rutgers, both UCLA, USC, and Wisconsin.
So you got Purdue, SC, UCLA, Wisconsin, Illinois, who just barely missed the tournament, and I'm Minnesota,
Iowa, Minnesota,
and Minnesota, right? The teams I mentioned, like where that are kind of historically NCAA tournament dwellers, high top 16 seed goals at the beginning of the season. Obviously, there's some schools in there that they're playing into the second weekend / the third weekend of the tournament. I would say we got majority of those at home this year, and we also have that extra match at home, right? Since it's an odd number of games. That's also a big deal to us too, because one, just more like another, honestly, another gate, another opportunity to play at home versus next year when it flips. We talked about non-conference scheduling. We're going to have to account for that,
right?
Because we're going to have one less home game, and obviously we talked about the Big Ten tournament. It's not in Lincoln, so that would be something that we're in the back of our minds scheduling for next year. But while we're talking about this year, but no, I think you have Indiana who made a huge flip in terms of where they were the last few years to where now Indiana was in the Sweet 16. They were a top 16 seed and they hosted. You have Michigan that made a big time flip, and Coach Aaron Virtue got them into the tournament. Michigan State, even though they didn't make the tournament, if you looked at their record from a couple years ago to now, made a huge switch. So these are tough road trips we're going to go on. Washington's another team that typically in the tournament. Oregon, I think, was one of the last teams out, and they showed some promise with some really, really good young players. And those are two tough volleyball places. One, tough places to travel to in terms of just the distance, but tough places to play, and obviously great fan bases. And they're going to be, I think, really, really talented teams. So I don't think there's like there's an easy side of the schedule or not, because every year is different, right? Everyone thought around this time last year, Purdue wasn't going to be that great because they lost a couple outside hitters to the portal and yada, yada. But then they turn around and Coach Shondell has them in the Elite Eight. Then you have Indiana, who everyone thought, they've been kind of toward the bottom these last few years, top 16 seed in the turn. So it's such a, I don't know. I think the biggest thing for me, Big Ten schedule wise, is we kind of have the Minnesota, Wisconsin, the LA schools who are, I think, historically going to be pretty good. Plus, I think they're both up on the rise here. And then, Purdue, I think, is going to be really good because they kind of brings back a good amount of that team. We kind of got those guys at home. We have that extra home game, which is another, again, easier for our fans to obviously get to some home games. So that's a big deal for us. But I don't say per se one's easier or not. It's just, I think we have more of the traditional volleyball powers at home than on the road this year. But, at the end of the day, you got to come out and win the games, and you're going to have to win some on the road. You're going to have to win some at home.
Yeah, the things that always stick out to me when I'm looking at these is just because the Big Ten now is like coast to coast is, what are the away opponents? In football, it's a little bit different.
A lot of those too, though, with opponents is just like anything, it's timing. Like, when do you play them, right? So, we don't know. So people are wondering out there probably why. Okay, why do they tell you who you're playing at home and away, but not just give you the schedule yet, right? What they're waiting for is they're waiting for the Big Ten football schedule. And the reason they're waiting for that is because in some of these, I wouldn't even say Lincoln per se, but some of these smaller towns, if they have a football game on Saturday, it might be really hard for them to do a volleyball game on Friday or Sunday or Saturday because of, hey, if you're in one of these smaller Big Ten towns, so don't think LA, don't think Minneapolis, but think of, I'm not going to say which town because I don't want to throw a town under the bus, but I'm going to say I'm not talking about Los Angeles. I'm not talking about Minneapolis. I'm probably not talking about Columbus, Ohio,
right.
But I'm talking about some of the other smaller areas in the Big Ten. They might not be able to host. So what they're waiting for is they're waiting for that. And they're also waiting for the football times because of television, right? So we're a team that's typically on television. what they're waiting for is like, okay, once they have all the, hey, Fox is doing this game and NBCs are doing this game. And I know sometimes they flex football games in depending on how teams are doing. But what they're waiting for is they're waiting for those dates. And now they're going to start putting, Indiana's on the road for football week 2 or 3 of the volleyball season. Maybe that's a good weekend to send Michigan and Michigan State there. So that's typically why they wait. I know it drives our director of ops, Lindsay Peterson, nuts because, she's having to schedule all these things very last minute sometimes. I mean, especially when you're trying to move a party of 30 people. It's not like it's as simple as like, hey, we're just buying tickets for Jaylen and 6 players to go somewhere. But, so for us, it's that's kind of why they kind of wait. So for those that don't know, like, why don't they come out with dates or why don't we know the exact dates of when we're playing Wisconsin at home or Michigan State on the road? Typically, we're waiting for once you see the Big Ten football schedule come out, I don't know, give it a couple of days and then.
That's usually the timeline. It's wait for football. And then,
Big Brother gets to eat first. Let's be real,
Yeah, and that's the way. Well, really, especially now with
that's
these
the way
TV
the
deals.
world works. So if I offended somebody by that, just pay attention in sports and college sports in general. Sports in general, too. I think NFL just came out with their schedule yesterday. So
and NFL is even getting greedier. They used to not touch certain days, and it's like, one day we're going to be watching NFL on a Wednesday. I actually think they did do it the one day.
Yeah, well, they did it like Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Christmas is and Christmas Eve. And
poor NBA used to have Christmas Day.
Yeah,
NFL said, we'll take over that, too.
Yeah.
Get in line. And like you said, that's just the way it works.
Speaking of older brother,
But that being said, when kind of talking about like the West Coast, East Coast, like, have you noticed any unique challenges, things that you had to learn to do? Like, when we're talking volleyball, it's not football where it's once a week. Sometimes you might have, hey, we're in Rutgers at the beginning of the week, and then we're going to be all the way on the West Coast towards the end of the week. Have you had unique challenges just trying to figure out, making sure players are well rested, ready to go when you're hitting some of these kind of unique and very extensive travel plans where you have to go east to West Coast and bounce around?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a specific time because it's not like, okay, last year we went to Rutgers, but we didn't turn around. We played, let me see if I remember this correctly. We played Penn State on a Friday and we played Rutgers on the Sunday. But we didn't turn around and go to LA the following week. So we haven't had to do something like that where it's like one weekend we're at the Statue of Liberty and the next weekend we're at the Space Needle.
Right.
Knock on wood, we might have to do that this year. I don't know yet. We don't know that part yet. I mean, a lot of what you just talked about, hopefully you're doing anyway. Like, hopefully you're taking care of your athletes. You're encouraging them to get a lot of sleep. I mean, if our non-conference schedule doesn't require that, I mean, I don't know what will. I know it's not as drastic as coast to coast, but I mean, shoot, it's down south.
It's all
It's
over.
up north. It's up in the Windy City. And then obviously it's out west in Las Vegas. So I think that would be really good prep for us. I think the Big Ten typically tries to stay away from sending a team coast to coast, besides obviously the teams that have no choice, like Rutgers and Maryland and UCLA, USC, Washington, but, typically that's kind of how they've tried to do it. But again, that's all based on how the football schedule works out. And then of course, I think what they want is they kind of want, hey, I know they're going to want, okay, what are some really good TV windows? Maybe there's not as much football, or maybe, okay, hey, Nebraska's out in Oregon and Washington, and there's no Big Ten after dark game on that Saturday night. Maybe we make Oregon and Washington play. So typically you get those more on the longer trips for us. What you're saying, we have the advantage of we're literally in the middle of the country.
Yeah, it's actually probably the best school to be with the new expansion.
Oh, for sure.
It used to be the furthest west, and it's like now we're right in the middle, so we never get totally across the country.
So like typically what we've done, the last couple of years, this year, for an example, we played UCLA, so we went out a day earlier than normal. Usually we fly out the day before. This year we practiced here and we got out there I think we played on a Friday, so we got out there Wednesday night. Typically we get somewhere on Thursday. We played USC on a Sunday afternoon, so we just got back that night.
Yeah, so the way it worked, you guys actually started off on the road Saturday, Minnesota, but that was on the 8th. Then you had a break, and then it was Friday the 14th, UCLA.
Yes.
Sunday, it was USC, but then you guys got to come back home on the 20th for Iowa.
Right. So it's not like they sent us out there. And then the other thing, 2 years ago, we played a late match. It was a Saturday night game versus Washington in Seattle. And instead of getting on the plane to for those that don't know, typically what we do is because we're really fortunate, but for the most part in conference, we're on charter airplanes. We usually just play the match and go straight from the gym when we're flying home. When we're done with the road trip, go straight from the gym to the plane and fly home. What we did with that, because of the time difference and how far Seattle was, we just spent the night in Seattle, and then we all flew out the next morning. Because what's the point of getting on a red eye? We're going to get back at 4 o'clock a.m. Central Time. The girls get home by 5, 6. That day's pretty much shot anyway, and now we kind of set ourselves back for the following week. So that trip was unique, where we just stayed the night and then flew back. When we've played like Rutgers and Penn State, usually we've just gotten on the plane and flew back because we get the time back.
Right. That makes sense.
So that was one. You kind of asked about challenges. That's the one time we've done that. We probably would have done that after we played USC, but we played USC at 1 o'clock, so we were done by 3 o'clock California time. I think we got back home in the evening, sometimes like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock Central Time. So it wasn't the end of the world. It didn't like set us back for the following week, versus we flew that red eye back that Sunday night. That Sunday morning when you get here basically turns into like, do we need to go to bed? Do we not?
Right.
Especially, this is something I've learned, and maybe you haven't, so maybe you're one of these people. Growing up in Hawaii, I fly red eye flights all the time. There's some people here that they've never been on a red eye flight. But now that I think about it, why would they?
Yeah, no,
because
never.
You're in the middle of the country. You could fly, when you fly to the West Coast, you get time back. It's a pretty quick flight it's a 2.5 hour flight to Atlanta. And unless you flew to Europe, you've gone to Europe or like gone down to Brazil, like why would you have?
Yeah, no, never.
It's crazy. Like I have friends that are like my age that are mid 30s, lower 30s, mid 30s. And some of them like, wow, that was the first red eye flight I've ever been on. I'm just like, wait, what? I'm just mind blown. When you grow up in the middle of the Pacific, you basically have to take that flight every single time. So I'm kind of pretty used to the red eye flight. I didn't even think I took a flight once from LA to Dallas, and it was left LA super late. And I got to Dallas at like 4 in the morning. And now it's only 2 time zones, but it technically, because it went overnight, you count it as a red eye flight. I'm like, this counts as a red eye flight? I didn't realize that even counted, so it's
we got some privileges being in the quote unquote middle of nowhere.
So for us, it was like we wanted to avoid that. And I bet, if we played them, again, depending on when we play and the times, again, if we played in the afternoon, we get back here even if it's later evening, no problem. But I bet if we played a Washington or or an Oregon late on a Saturday night, I could see us spending the night in Eugene or Seattle and then flying in the morning. So that's I would say the only thing that we've accounted for, if that makes sense, is like that West Coast coming back trip and getting out there early or flying back, depending on what we want to do.
Yeah, it's good to point out, because I always think about like just the miles, but like the time zones. Because I know, talking to the Boulders, like shout out to the Boulders, they got like really tough weekends where it's like they'll leave on Wednesday and then they're bowling Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then they might be getting back at like 3 a.m. and then have school the next day.
Yeah, they get into Omaha at like 11:50. They get all their stuff. By the time the bus is pulling in to campus, it's 2 a.m. Central Time.
And they're there for, the entire weekend. So it does take a little bit of time for that time zone adjustment. So in your guys' case, it's nice that, again, you don't always, that doesn't always work in your favor, but there's things you guys can do to kind of alleviate.
And typically, most of our trips, if they're like quick ones, think about it, a good amount of the Big Ten's in Central Time Zone. So there's not that much time difference. Eastern Time Zone, it's not that big a deal. The West Coast one is a little different. And that's the only one we're typically kind of guaranteed to be out there for like 4-ish days, where you can kind of feel, versus these single trips, especially when, if we go to the East Coast for a couple days, you don't even really notice it, if I'm being honest, because you're not there for that long. We might get there on a Thursday evening. We're back here late Saturday evening, if that makes sense. It's not.
Doesn't jar your system enough to throw you off.
The West Coast is the different one, especially one also because we're out there long enough to adjust.
Yes.
If that makes sense. The reason, especially if we play, okay, let's just say, I think when we played UCLA, we started at 8 p.m. Pacific time on a Friday night. So that would be like 10 to us. So that was part of the reason we wanted to get out there early. And then we had a later practice the next day to make sure, like, hey guys, I know it's 10 o'clock and typically a lot of us are going to bed right now. Like, we got to be ready to perform at that time. We can't just like, all right, nighttime, but during warm-up. So that was part of the other reason why you look into time zones and stuff like that, depending on where you are. I can't imagine being, if I'm being honest, I can't imagine being the West Coast schools flying out there or the East Coast schools. But again, typically for us, I can't even say, I don't even know what to call us because we're not the original Big Teners. I'm going to call us the medium Big Teners. Us,
I like
Rutgers,
that.
and Maryland. For us, like medium Big Teners, I can't. And original Big Teners, all of us only have to go out to the West Coast one time, and they typically pair it USC and UCLA together, and then Washington and Oregon together. Versus we're not. It's not like we're out there multiple times throughout the year unless you play non-conference. So,
well, you only got those 4 teams on the West. Like I'd much even rather be a Rutgers because at least there's a lot more teams around me.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Those guys have to travel a lot
every time.
They
have to do it one time.
Yes,
right? They have to do it. They don't have non-conference. You can kind of decide, but they have to do that trip one time. Versus, I mean, shoot, LA does. Omaha is not. I mean, commercially, it's not a straight shot flight, or it's not as simple. That's the shortest flight for those guys. Like, think about that.
Nice little advantage for us.
Yeah. I guess besides driving across town to play each other and then going up to Seattle and Eugene, like we're the medium Big Teners, original Big Teners. We're the closest Big Ten school to them.
Okay, we can end on that. The medium Big Teners. Don't go anywhere. Serve and Volley, Jaylen Reyes, Harrison Arns. We got one more segment. We'll do a short break and be back in just a little bit.
Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines, unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at EJ's Bar and Lounge, with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
A membership with John Henry's will fast-track you to front-of-the-line service, seasonal tune-ups, and far fewer unexpected moments. That means no breakdowns, no waiting on a call, and no nonsense. It's consistent care that prevents small issues from turning into big bills. Join the Comfort Club and get VIP treatment 365 days a year with 24-hour priority response, member-only discounts, and peace of mind on your home's most expensive systems. Call John Henry's.
John Henry's coming. Eating it
and electrical.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
At Raising Cane's, we focus on making the most craveable chicken finger meals, getting them right every time. That's why we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, salt every fry, squeeze every lemon, and brew every ounce. We do this inside every Raising Cane's, every day, because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
At DWE Generations, having a plan matters, especially when it comes to protecting what's most important. They work with individuals, families, and business owners to help make smart financial decisions that support life today and set the foundation for generations. David Darlington, Russell Walton, and Cody Eiler bring decades of experience, and their dedicated team provides follow-through, answering questions, explaining next steps, and staying connected as life evolves. DWE Generations, a generational wealth planning firm. DWE Generations is a marketing name for individuals doing business as representatives of Northwestern Mutual. Visit generations.nm.com or call 402-483-7871 and ask for David, Russell, or Cody.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here. Summer is fast approaching. With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you back on the road in comfort and safety. We diagnose all makes and models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and Chevrolets. We fix a variety of issues with all of them with our talented techs and our experienced staff. A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball. All right, just swing right through it. Yeah, good Good job. Way to go. Hey, run it out. Okay.
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
Hey, baseball fans, join the Blur Tailgate at Hilton Omaha this June for their 14th annual hospitality event during the College Baseball Championship Series. Book an experience for your clients or employees with an exclusive bar, buffet, TVs, music, and tailgate games. Secure your spot today and let Blur Events take care of all the work so you can enjoy the day. Plus, they're just steps away from Charles Schwab Field. Visit blurevents.com to book your group, buy tickets, or learn about sponsorships. That's blurevents.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination.
We have 2 boys, so we needed more space. We lived in a townhouse, so we decided to build.
Casey Bowman and her husband Joe built their first home with us. This is Bob Benish of Aspen Builders. Working with the Bowmans was fantastic.
After the first meeting, we really liked them as people.
I was really skeptical about the whole building process, more so than Joe was, but they explained everything before it happened. If there were problems or issues along the way, they called and explained everything. They just really helped ease my mind.
They were really good about giving us options as far as what fit in the budget, what didn't fit in the budget. They have a designer, Rachel.
She was amazing. She was very helpful in making sure that our house turned out good. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change the lot. I wouldn't change colors. I love everything about it. Everything. It's perfect for us.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting.
Welcome into Serve and Volley with your host, Nebraska Assistant Coach and Recruiting Coordinator Jaylen Reyes.
Welcome back in to Serve and Volley. We got Jaylen Reyes, the Nebraska Volleyball Associate Head Coach. Harrison Arns on the 1s and 2s. Just got a couple minutes here before we wrap things up. We were talking off air a little bit Husker football, and I know the numbers came out. The roster, $29 million. We also heard some teams are putting as much as $50 million. You're really just seeing that area start to grow. And I'm not here to say, if Nebraska needs to spend more or less, but more of the question to you is, are you seeing that in volleyball? When I see these opportunities, you got Wrigley Field, you got spikes under the lights. There seems to be major push and support by some of these bigger corporations that see revenue in this. Are you kind of starting to see a transition to players as well, or is that still not really taking off?
No, I think for sure. I think there's definitely seeing some.
And I'm not asking for names or numbers.
If I'm being honest, I'm not the massive expert in terms of I don't have the specifics. Not okay, I'm not even talking about names. It's not as well reported as the article we all saw in football of where the Big Ten teams stand in terms of what they're spending on football, on their roster for football. But I know for a fact people are supporting volleyball, whether it's these event companies, whether it's schools, whether it's through NIL channels, legal NIL channels. I know people are starting to spend more money in volleyball, which I think is awesome and great for the sport and awesome for the kids. And I just think it's going to help grow stuff. I think it's going to help get the best athletes playing the sport of volleyball, especially when they're young, because they can see there's a financial benefit to playing the sport. But I don't, it's definitely not obviously taken off like it has in the 2 big men's sports, but I think slowly but surely, and I think some of these events we're playing in is going to help that and also help drive that, because I think there's going to be some other events just like these, the couple that we're going to be playing in coming up this fall.
Absolutely. Which is, it looks good for the future, as I'm saying at the price. So that's why I figured I'd ask it. But if not quite now, I wouldn't be surprised if down the road we start really seeing that take off. Appreciate everybody listening. We're going to wrap it up with Serve and Volley. We got Mandy Munson for the Girls Club coming up next. 93.7 The Ticket. Don't go anywhere.